Hi Tama and Mabuhay! Welcome back to FiliSwissed. Are you ready for 2021? If not, then perhaps I may help you starting with how to create your New Year's resolutions list and also how to set up your goals in order to achieve them. Now, I'm still the type of person who makes a New Year's resolutions list, but it is not enough to create a list. I find it imperative to be able to set up the goals in order to track and achieve them. Now, let's start with the first step. Let's set up your New Year's resolutions list. So first on my list is to read more books. Now, it doesn't mean I wasn't reading in 2020. Actually, I was busy reading Harvard Business Review articles, listening to Audible and other podcasts. Now, of course, I was enlightened, but it's not the same as reading a physical book, turning the pages, stimulating your imagination, creativity, and basically your mind as you take yourself out of your reality and into the new world you're exploring. Now, I remember since childhood that this book addiction actually started when my family would always go out and I would get a book every time. And I would have already read a couple of books in the store itself, so then the only thing I would have had to buy was whatever I didn't make it to, and then read that at home, and then the flow basically continues. Now, books were also a reward for me. Every time we received our grades in school, we would go to the parent-teacher conference, and then, okay, I have made it to a certain grade, time to go to the store and get a new book for myself. And maybe because it's a reward, the book was usually more expensive than the ones that we usually bought for me. This basically continued all the way until I started my bachelor's studies. So basically, I stopped because I lacked the time, or I didn't check to see how I could make time for it. My interest also changed, so my flow in a day also changed. Now, what you've seen in a previous video was my bookshelf of the books that I've accumulated. I've read all of them, and these are basically the new collection since I moved on my own here. But I have a lot more that are back home in the Philippines with my family. So I know that there's a lot, a treasure. So because I missed it so much, I would like to bring it back in 2021. And I'm aiming to read at least one book per month, so that in 1 year I would have finished 12, and I find that a very attainable number, knowing that I don't have so much time in the world even right now. So making time for it, making a schedule for it, that I can actually maybe spend an hour or two a day, and maybe I can finish one book in a month, knowing my scheduling. So basically, I want to bring it back in 2021 because I missed that feeling so much. Now, my New Year's resolution number 2 is to make more time for self-care. Now, I started this self-care routine in 2020 where I decided every Sunday I should have a self-care day and basically look after myself, my mental well-being, my physical well-being, everything. But I didn't get to do that. More things were happening in my life, and I just got, as you've known in the previous resolution, I was too busy for anything about myself. Now, I want to bring it back to 2021 and stick to having every Sunday as a self-care day for myself. Because we all need that time to restart. I mean, we all go through different stresses in life, whether it's work, whether it's home. Some people give you a headache, so you just gotta restart anyway. So now that's something that I would really like to do. If you haven't seen what my self-care routine looks like, I will link the video somewhere, and you can have a look at that and see what I actually do in a self-care day. Now, this definitely helps you wind down. I would strongly suggest you add it onto your list because it's so easy to forget yourself when you're looking after other people or other things that you find also a priority in your life. New Year's resolution number 3 is to eat balanced meals. Now, you've seen me go through the keto diet, and as soon as a holiday comes, all diets are off. Just start cooking what you like because you're going to have to enjoy this season. So now we know we have the holiday wait to get rid of. It's time to start with a better routine when it comes to meal planning, and we're just going back into that system. So 2021, I will make a meal planning schedule where I can actually see again what is in stock now that the year is ending, and of course what I need now for the start of the new year. Then it becomes the routine for the rest of the year, and hopefully we can still stick to that planning regardless of what seasonal holiday is coming. But we can plan for it anyway, knowing when we're going to spike up and then go back down in terms of weight. So this is a very good weight achievement goal as well in future, which we'll talk about later in the goals. New Year's resolution number 4, do more yoga. Now, I didn't choose yoga because it's a fad or it's something that was trending. It's more or less because it's the closest I have to anti-gravity, which I used to do when I still had my gym membership. Now, I've canceled that a long time ago, and I didn't have a solution to replace it at home until lockdown came and I started to do yoga at home, as I've learned from a couple of my workmates. Now, what I usually need it for is to extend my spine, because I do have some back issues or lower back issues, especially wherein I do have that pain, and I found out it's because of the spine that's rubbing, the discs are rubbing against each other. So I do need these inversions. So all of these back stretches or exercises that I can do at home doing yoga, that's what I've decided to do during lockdown, and it was a really nice routine. I did it at least once a week, and it really helped my back. It helped me feel relaxed as well, mind, body, soul. So but I didn't continue that anymore when I started to go back to the office, and that's when I realized, okay, my back issues are starting to come up again, they're creeping up. So it's time to get back into, again, looking after myself, because if you're not healthy, it just gets worse, right? So I'm just going back into incorporating that into my daily, not daily, but my weekly routine, that I will do it at least once a week, most likely on the weekend, where I don't have to stress out worrying that I didn't wake up early enough or I'm too tired at night. So at least I wake up relaxed in the weekend, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday. Maybe I'll do it in my self-care day on a Sunday, and actually just start doing all of these stretches all over again, because it really helps a lot and I really am craving for it again. That's one of my New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolution number 5. Stick to your resolutions. No, it's not a joke. It's really a resolution. Now, so easy for us to come up with a list of 50 to 100 resolutions. Most of them are going to be new habits that you need to form. And how long does it take to form a new habit? So it doesn't come naturally for us to just switch up things and change it up and think that it's going to be permanent for the rest of your life. It's not, it doesn't work that way. So what I find much better is to be able to set up attainable or achievable resolutions and set up goals for them. And this is where we're coming into now, how to set up your goals in order to achieve them at the end of the year. So in setting up your goals, it's always good to check what is in your resolutions list, that you can find a measurable way to track them and to see your progress and how you're going to achieve them at the end of the year. Now, when I said earlier about how I want to read more books, I said that I want to read 1 book per month. My goal is to reach 12 books at the end of the year. Now that's easy enough to track, because then I get to list down what is the goal, and then how many months or days, or how exactly do I want to measure this. Do I want to just measure this in, like, okay, January I read this book, that counts as 1, February this one, and that counts as 1, all the way until the end of the year. Now that is also a way to do it, instead of drafting up an entire list of all the days in the year, and then you're like, okay, take day 1, take day 2. Not necessarily possible, because anything can happen during the time in the week. So I think for me, the best way to track book reading is being able to track it by month, and also to see what titles I actually read throughout the year. I might have actually veered myself towards a certain genre, and then I know already, okay, this is what I like the most in this point in time. Maybe I will change that up next year. Maybe I actually want to change the goal, or maybe tweak it a bit. Instead of just reading books in general, it could be reading a genre in general. So how many of this genre, how many of that genre, you know. Alright, so the New Year's resolution that I mentioned for making time for self-care and doing yoga, I think these two can come together because again, they are actually habits that need to be formed or reformed because, you know, it takes X amount of days just to be able to make it a natural habit that you do every week. So for myself, I think it's much easier to track that, okay, I have 4 weeks in a month, then I will track 4 weeks in a month in my list. Now in my tracker, I can customize it. I can basically make it look that I have the item itself, and then I have January 1, 2, 3, 4, and then February all the way until the end of the year. So it's easier to tick that box because I don't have anything else to really tick off every single day. And I get to also maybe change it up a bit. If I want to make it more optimal, I can also decide, okay, here's the list of the exercises that I did or the stretches I did, and then I can actually decide, okay, I didn't like this as much, I will change it up in the next week, and maybe I would even do a certain exercise longer and not do the other one at all. So it could reach up to 4 different exercises or stretches, and then decide, you know, how exactly do I want to do my stretches that doesn't make me feel like I actually failed myself and made it worse. So always know what your body is telling you. Always know that you have limits. You are human. I'm not saying you're only human because it doesn't mean that it's bad, but you are human. You're not a freaking machine. You're not perfect. You have to accept it. So that's where I want to be, and that's how I want to set it up. Now, I mentioned that I want to eat more balanced meals. Now, when it comes to organizing yourself, it only helps to have a meal planning setup and a meal tracking. So what I'm going to do is going back into that routine where I start again from scratch and use the same tools that I've had before and maybe tweak it a bit just to make sure that I'm able to plan out properly. I mean, we have a good routine actually. We go every week to the grocery, and before that we've already seen, okay, what do we have? We've taken stock, we know our inventory, we know what's at home in the cupboards, in the fridge, and just always look at what it is we actually need depending on the recipes that we've decided for that week, and maximizing the use of all the products that we have at home. Now, if I ran out of soy sauce, then of course that's something I know that I use mostly, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna buy soy sauce because I need to restock. So these are a couple of things that I find it very easy to list down and then execute, because the moment you have your list, you're much more organized. You go to the grocery, you don't get distracted by other stuff and all the fluff. You're just going there exactly for what you need when you need it. So now let me show you how exactly I plan to track everything, as I have been tracking before already. Now, there are 3 main tools that I like to use. One is a planner, whether it's in a digital format or in a physical format. You would have seen this when we traveled to Germany. You would have seen my file of facts, and I had a little mini section on my planner, which is just for the traveling, and that was really nice. It was very good to have because it listed out everything we needed to bring with us, everything we needed to know, and how much we had for our budget, and do what we wanted to do there, see all the places we wanted to see. So these are very good tools and very basic and easy to have on your own, and customizable if you're that type of person. So that's something I would strongly recommend to have, whether again it's in digital or physical. The second tool that I would recommend is to use your calendar, whether it's a default app on your device, or you want to use Google Calendar or something that syncs on multiple devices. Do what you want as long as you use the calendar, because it's very good to see an overview of what you have in the week, and also for what you have on the weekend. So let's say you are busy in the week because you work every Monday to Friday, then you basically want to see what is on Saturday, Sunday, and maybe at the end of the workday. So you have an overview of how much time you actually have left. When you're thinking of going out with friends or with family, then you have to make sure that you don't double book something on the same day. And last but not least, start using a project planning tool, not the ones that you really need to pay for. I mean, Trello is for free, for example, and I like to use Trello. I can, of course, change the background of my board and the different cards. But what I like most about using Trello is that I have the flexibility to customize how I make my checklist. I can have more than one checklist in one card and start tracking every part of my process. When it comes to our vlog project, where there's a lot of things that need to be done, all the way from storyboarding to filming to editing. So there's so many aspects that go into one project that it's much easier to track them individually. And if you're working together with other people that are not in the same place, or for example now during the pandemic you can't meet up with them, it's much easier to track where a project is at when you can see it digitally on a platform where you can just access very easily. So now my question for you: how do you stick to your New Year's resolutions and goals? Maybe you haven't thought about it now, but maybe you can think about it later and leave it as a comment down below to let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button if you did. For more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified for future videos. As always, I'll see you next time, and schöne and paalam.